Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the SLDC Board of Directors meeting. It's October 19th, 2023 at 8:01 a.m. I would like to call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call vote, please? A roll call.
Director Gilbert,
Here.
Director McBride,
Here.
Director Sean Spencer,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer,
Here.
and Chairman Neal.
Present. So we have a quorum. So the first item we have on the agenda today is approval of the minutes from the September 21st, 2023 regular scheduled board meeting that was held via Zoom. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved,
So-
Gilbert.
Second, McBride.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Director Sean Spencer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer,
Aye.
and Chairman Richardson.
Aye. I vote the motion passes to approve the minutes from the September 21st, 2023 regular scheduled board meeting. The first resolution that we have today is resolution number 23 SLDC 908, approving funding for Urban Land Institute Downtown Advisory Services Panel. We have our Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives, Mr. Stephen Davis, that will be presenting this resolution today. Steve, take it away.
All right, thank you, Chairman Richardson, and good morning, Board of Directors. As Chairman Richardson mentioned, this resolution authorized SLDC to enter into a grant agreement with Greater St. Louis, Inc. To engage in the Urban Land Institute, or ULI, to provide an advisory services panel. With this grant agreement, SLDC will provide GSL with a $75,000 grant to fund a ULI advisory services panel focused on the activation of the Gateway Mall and more broadly, downtown retail density. Little background for those who may not know, the Urban Land Institute has been providing urban design and land use strategies for over 70 years. This advisory services panel is meant to offer an unbiased and independent solution to complex problems that are facing our communities, such as activating the Gateway Mall and bringing down retail to downtown St. Louis. So this panel will bring together the best and brightest from ULI's diverse membership, including developers, planners, financiers, market analysts, economists, architects, and designers, and public officials to provide practical solutions and objective advice not available from any other source. The Urban Land Institute maintains an advisory services program for the purpose of benefiting organizations, governments, and the general public through improved planning and utilization of land. We, SLDC and GSL, wish to obtain advice and recommendations from the Institute on development and planning issues associated with downtown. So with that brief background, I'll open it up for questions and comments as well.
I would just like to also tack on to this. As you all know, downtown St. Louis, similar to other downtowns across the country, have faced some unique challenges in light of COVID with some of the work from home settings. With some of the activations of retail, we have to think very differently about downtown. And there's no cookie cutter approach to address these challenges. Every city has its unique assets that they bring to the table and their unique business culture. And so the ULI group will bring national partners from across the country to be able to support, do a full analysis, and provide us with some clear recommendations for actions to take in order to really create a more vibrant and robust downtown, to be able to attract visitors, to support our business community, as well as to grow our retail presence and density. So really excited about this program. We've partnered with ULI on technical assistance panels in various neighborhoods across the city of St. Louis and North and South City. So very excited about us having the opportunity to engage with this partner on our downtown activations. And this is more of a robust program because they're bringing national partners to the table to support us I know Rodney Krim is a member of ULI as well. I don't know if you want to speak directly to some of your participation with ULI to Rodney.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chairman Neil Richardson. So ULI is at the forefront of helping transform communities across the world. And like Chairman mentioned, that you kind of have the best and the brightest. People have seen a lot of different examples of what can happen in communities, and so I think this is an excellent idea. I've actually participated on the advisory panels, one in Minneapolis and others. So I think these are great tools to use from ULI.
Yeah, thank you, Rodney. I really appreciate that input and your expertise and your participation.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments from the directors? I see Alderwoman Kara Spencer, your hand.
Thank you, Director Richardson. I did have a couple quick questions on this. The ULI, the $75,000 is going to Greater St. Louis Inc. I was looking in here, does the total cost is $135? So is Greater St. Louis, and I'm just kind of reading through this, is Greater St. Louis paying for the rest of that,
That
the
is
balance
correct.
of that?
Yes, so that they are covering the remaining cost.
Okay, that's good to know. So there's both the two entities, SLDC and Greater St. Louis Inc., then have some financial skin in the game, if you will.
Yeah, and I would add that this isn't just a 1 week. The national panel's coming in for 1 week. We're meeting with ULI weekly up until this event, and we're hosting various workshops and actually putting together a scope of work for ULI. So they're not coming in totally uninformed about what we're actually looking at downtown. So we have a couple of deliverables that we're working on ourselves leading up to this event.
Okay, that's good to know. The Gateway Mall is considered that area going west from the Arch. But there's a broader, there's not a lot of retail, specifically retail in that zone, which is problematic, I think. But more broadly speaking, I mean, like the downtown, including Laclede's Landing and some of the other areas, around downtown, we have some neat developments kind of flanking the Arch. Will this work include the broader downtown district, including the riverfront, or is it just kind of more focused on that Gateway Mall?
Yeah, no, good question. I think the reason why, we're having these workshops leading up to it is that we want to include, the entire community. We don't want anyone to feel like they're left out of this advisory services panel. So we want to be really thoughtful about who we're engaging and how we're engaging them. So, anyone who wants a seat at the table to provide their input to this group is absolutely welcome.
And then also, yeah, and I think just to answer your question directly, Alderwoman Spencer, is we are focused on how do we have activations along the mall, but also how those activations support the retail for the greater downtown area, including the landing and the riverfront. So it's a mixer of both, but the focus is on how do we activate that mall to drive retail around the other areas of downtown. And that's why we are engaging all parties and members of downtown who would like to participate.
Okay, that's really helpful. I'm thinking of like the City Garden and all those folks. I'm assuming they'll be part of these discussions, and I'd be happy to help in any way. I'd love to have a small seat at the table if possible, and would be more than happy to help. That's all I have.
We'll make sure you have more than a small seat at the table. We know you have some great expertise and knowledge that you bring and support from downtown businesses and organizations. So we want to make sure your voice is at the table. So thank you. Any other questions or comments from the Board of Directors? Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 23 SLDC 908, approving funding for Urban Land Institute Downtown Advisory Services Panel.
So move, Gilbert.
Second, McBride.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 23 SLDC 908. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
You're on mute.
Sorry, aye.
Director
Something else popped up.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Director Sean Spencer, and Director Reed.
The late Director Reed votes aye.
And Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all voting aye, the motion passes to approve resolution number 23 SLDC 908. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 23 SLDC 909, authorizing an agreement with Greater St. Louis, Inc. to reimburse a portion of costs to secure the Railway Exchange building. Today is Mr. Steve Davis' show, so I'll pass it back over to him to present the resolution.
Thank you, Chairman Richardson. As you mentioned, this resolution authorizes SLDC to enter a funding agreement with Greater St. Louis, Inc., who in partnership with the St. Louis Building Division will procure services to secure Railway Exchange building in downtown St. Louis. And this agreement is not to exceed $100,000. Just some quick background. I think we're all familiar with the recent events, but in order to secure the building, to keep unwanted trespassers going in and to enhance public safety, the Building Division and Great St. Louis, Inc. have proposed engaging Dogs Vacant Property Security. Dogs has a national reputation for securing buildings and using a proprietary method that guarantees the preservation and security of their clients' buildings. As a leader in vacant property preservation, their product is impenetrable proprietary steel door and window shields that are uniquely designed to prevent theft, vandalism, and unauthorized occupation. Dog's patented steel door and window shields eliminate the risk of break-ins and tampering, and they're installed by a highly responsive, flexible labor crews who are also local. Dogs door and security stay firmly in place with virtually no chance of being compromised. They also work with local city services and emergency responders that give them special training in case the building does need to be accessed in case of emergency. So they're very responsive, and again, they guarantee their product. This resolution also supports the security of the building until these steel panels can be installed. So with that, I will open it up to questions and comments again.
Yeah, so again, I just wanted to make a couple remarks before I open it up to the directors. As you all know, Railway Exchange building is a critical asset to downtown St. Louis, and the preservation of that building is critically important. We also want to ensure that the public safety is managed appropriately. We've had some unfortunate events, including a fire over the last couple weeks that not only present dangers for the building, but also dangers for the surrounding environment. And so it's important for us to partner with the city of St. Louis, the building division, to provide additional resources to protect that asset. This is an asset that will ultimately drive economic development growth for our city. Securing that asset, ensuring that that asset is also maintained appropriately. Removal of graffiti has happened over the past couple weeks. Again, as we want to make sure that the tourists that we are attracting downtown, the residents, the employees that are pedestrians in that area, have a safe and feel safe as they walk around those spaces. We believe this investment is important. We will be working with the building division as they will ensure that the funding that we provide ultimately gets billed back to the current owner. So in the event of any sale of this property, the city of St. Louis will be reimbursed for those costs. We also are ensuring that we are covering some of the security around the building, in the form of security presence and officers around the building as we are working to get dogs to secure this longer term with the steel plating. So I definitely want to open it up to questions or comments from the board of directors in regards to this resolution.
Well, if I may,
Well, we have like 5 hands that raised quickly. I seen that. Alderwoman Kara Spencer.
I'll defer. I'll
Okay.
defer since I have questions, so.
Okay. Director McBride.
Thank you. I just wanted to touch base with regard to the responsiveness in the event that EMS or other providers need to get into the building in an expedited manner. I mean, how logistically does that work? Do they have to contact dogs, and what's
So-
their proximity to railway exchange building?
Yeah, that's a good question, and hopefully, once the building's secure, those calls will be reduced. But dogs
Right.
will provide training to the fire department and other critical services on how to access the building. There is a steel door with a access code on it, but there's also a special way to dismantle the steel plates if necessary, if you need to access the building in a different way. And I can't speak to that training directly or how to do it. Only Dogs has that expertise, but they will provide that training to the fire department, police department, and other critical services as needed.
And will the sealing up of the entrances, will that extend to, I understand there are tunnels and other manners to access the railway exchange building that are beyond just from ground level?
So they're going to evaluate the building and put the steel plates where necessary. So there will be several that are located on the second floor as well, where people may be able to climb up and access over awnings. And we could definitely have them evaluate underground access points as well to make sure those are secure.
Yeah, we also are in conversation with the building division director McBride about those areas underground. Obviously, now that we've removed the bridge, that has helped significantly from the garage, but also there are some tunnels because the railway exchange is on the steam loop. So being able to block off access to the building from the steam loop, and also turning off the steam loop for public safety purposes is important too. And once we have that building back activated, we can reactivate that space. But we have had reports. I even believe Alderwoman Spencer has received some calls around various ways in which individuals are getting access to the building. And so we've been in contact with the building division to reduce access to those areas as well. So that's correct. This will be in partnership with the building division to cut off all access to this building unless authorized.
Thank you.
Director Spencer, Sean Spencer.
Mr. Davis, could you give us a little background on the timing and when this is going to happen? And also, obviously, protecting the terracotta has been discussed a little bit offline. Can you talk a little bit about dogs, their ability to protect the existing facade? Because that's one of the most important parts here.
Yeah. As far as the timeline goes, it's my understanding that this is going to take a couple weeks for Dogs to get in there and actually start doing the work. So that's why we have to help support the additional security around the building during that timeline. As far as the terracotta, I think one of the reasons that Dogs was engaged is because their steel panels interlock from the inside of the building. And so therefore it will not damage the exterior or create any additional cost to anyone who may want to come in and redevelop the property. I think some of the other solutions involve actually drilling into the exterior of the building, and we wanted to avoid that if possible.
Great. And so just also a clarifying comment, this is a split cost with GSL along with the security. And also, I was glad to see in the resolutions, I've been seeing this more frequently lately, that we're pointing to the economic justice plan and how investments like this support that plan, in addition to this building railway exchange being on the SLDC priority projects list. So I'm really glad to see we're being proactive and taking some action on this.
Absolutely. No, yeah, this is definitely a shared cost between GSL, the building division, and SLDC. And you're absolutely right as it relates to the economic justice action plan. If we're going to create opportunity, we need to be able to provide space for retail downtown, and this is one of the iconic buildings that local businesses would want to locate in the future if we can get it activated. So again, we want to create opportunity for everyone to come in and be able to do business downtown. Yep.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Spencer, I think you are the last hand to be raised. Did you have any other questions or comments?
I just, I guess I was looking into dogs. It looks like they're located in Chicago. Is that right?
Correct.
Their
Yep.
headquarters in Chicago. That's
Yep.
right.
Headquarters. Do they have the local office here?
They do. They have a local crew. I believe they have 7 employees that are based here in St. Louis. I met with one of them I think it was last week, to assess the building. Again, they guarantee their product, the security, and they will be on call throughout the duration of this project.
That's good. I was just curious if we looked into local, I'm sure they're great. I just was curious
Yeah.
if we looked into local options. I know there's a lot of
We
steel manufacturers in St. Louis.
So we did, but the issue we came across, and to Director Sean Spencer's point, they all involved drilling into the actual facade of the building, which we wanted to avoid because that just creates more cost for anyone who may want to come in and redevelop it.
Yeah. Well, that's, that makes sense. I'm really grateful that SLDC was able to step in and step up. We've got, some measures to ensure that either through sale or through eminent domain, we can get reimbursed and take this off the top of what the value is for the building, not only for this work, but for the security. And I think, it's just so important that we get this funding lined up and get on it. I know the building division has been, working really hard to try and secure it. The board up crew has really put a lot of effort into this, and I'm glad to see we're coming together to do this. So that's all I have. Thank you, Director.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderwoman Spencer. And again, as you all noticed, partnering with Greater St. Louis Inc. on downtown initiatives will be an ongoing effort. Downtown is critically important for not just the city, but for the region. And as we are moving forward on an economic justice action plan, it's important for us to really understand that downtown is critical to the success of our neighborhoods, and our neighborhoods are critical to the success of downtown. So, as we talked about at the Mayor's Business Luncheon, United We Will Thrive, and it will require us investing in downtown, protecting these assets, growing our economy to give our neighborhoods and the residents in those neighborhoods greater assets to improve their quality of life overall. So again, appreciate everyone's support. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 23 SLDC 909.
So
Move
moved, Spencer.
McBride. Second McBride, request previous role.
I have a motion and a second. Previous row has been requested. Any objections to previous row? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes to approve resolution number 23 SLDC 909 per previous row. We'll now move on to the open agenda director's report. As promised earlier this year, when the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership came before the SLDC board for approval of the extension of our partnership and funding of the partnership to drive economic growth in the city and in the region. We promised an ongoing update from the partnership, and today Mr. Rodney Krim is fulfilling that requirement with his team. So Rodney, please take it away with your update.
All right, thank you very much, Chairman. So we would just spend about 10 minutes or so providing some highlights from this period since we met the last time. We will focus on a lot of the key kind of results that we're excited about. They all reflect teamwork, collaboration, and partnerships. And I really like the mantra, United We Will Thrive. And so we got that, Neil, on Friday. So thank you for that. And it was a great event. So again, by working together, we can go for the wins. And so we're going to start off talking about one that will end up, at least to this point, being one of our largest projects collectively for a region impacting the city and the county. So if I can ask my team to go ahead and put up the presentation, I appreciate it. And so while they're doing that, you know, Boeing at $1.8 billion. I mean, it was a massive project. Jason Archer was our business development VP on this. And so he's going to walk us through this. So go ahead, Jason, talk about Boeing.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm honored to get to speak about this project and have got to serve and work on it. It's an excellent example of how, and I used to say, we stack this layer cake of economic development agencies, entities, and government groups to pull a possible transformative project for the St. Louis region. As Rodney said, it was $1.8 billion, provided Boeing wins this work, 500 new jobs. As the slides are coming up, I've talked about it enough. I don't even need the slide. So what do I mean by stacking a layer cake? What I mean by St. Louis County offered a 50% for 10 years on net new investments. So 1.8 buildings means maybe up to 10 new buildings plus machinery and equipment. It would be a replacement for the F-15 strike fighter. So all the work has to be kept separate and in classified areas. With the help of SLDC, the mayor's office, the board of aldermen, the land had to be leased by the city. So that work got done through the cooperation of all of us together. And then finally, SLDC, along with the Missouri Department of Economic Development, they applied for and won a $2.5 million ARPA grant to assist with some site development work. And that's probably going to be applied to the Brownlee site, which is in the municipality of Berkeley. And it was a property buyout. So there's layers there where all the property lines have to be identified and released so that it turns into a single site. So a lot of work, a lot of agencies come together to, again, hopefully make this a transformative project for a region. And I'm going to hand it over to Michelle. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rodney.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, and again, working with Rhonda Hamdenbrigge was just key to all of this. Obviously, the airport owned by the city, located in the county. We've done a couple of transactions or projects with Rhonda, and plus Neil and I, we took a tour with Rhonda of all the specific areas within the airport, and we just appreciate that kind of partnership. So with that, go ahead, Michelle, talking about your participation on the city IDA.
Okay. Yeah, so I work with James Morrow and Laura Bryan of SLDC on projects for the city's Industrial Development Authority, and I work with the IDA board. And there are several new projects that have begun their process through the IDA. And these include the Abusi Pavilion project, the Premier Charter School project, Ridge Place Apartments project, and then there's also a even more recent one that's starting for Old North Park East. And these are all at the beginning of the process. They get introduced, then they later have a final approval, but they have begun their process through the city's IDA.
All right, very good. We're going to move on to Jason. Why don't you talk a little bit about our business retention and expansion program? And you know, this is really exciting. I'm a board member for the International Economic Development Council, so to be able to win something is just very, very exciting. So go ahead.
Yes, exactly. And so for a quick reminder, at the beginning of the pandemic, we reimagined our business retention and expansion committee. We did a lot of research with what Rodney said, the International Economic Development Council, IEDC, did a lot of research on communities and how they staff and build a retention and expansion committee. For coming up on 4 years, we've had a standing Friday meeting with all our partners, which includes SLDC, Ameren, Spire, the Missouri Department of Economic Development, Greater St. Louis, Inc. And so what we do is go visit businesses either in person via Zoom. We've done 170 businesses since then. I believe we have 7 more scheduled here coming up. They always come up. We just had a meeting yesterday and have a stack already for places we want to go next year. But the middle highlight is what I get to talk about before I hand it over to Tim Nowak, which is the International Economic Development Council. IEDC is a 5,000 member organization of economic developers from around the globe. They held an award ceremony where you had to enter your BRE committee, how it staffs, what's the processes, and a project. We entered one together, and we were recently awarded second place, silver, out of over 500 entrants for our BRE committee and work. So that photo is our certificate that we won from that, and we're recognized at the International Economic Development Council for the work in our BRE. So pretty proud to be a part of that, and we're glad that we all are working together on that. And Tim, I think you want to talk about the international piece.
Yeah, really quick. So our team has expanded this work now to launch BRE International, and it's a collaboration with the Missouri Department of Economic Development or International Trade Office, and also the U.S. Department of Commerce Export Assistance Office. And it's a two-pronged approach. One is we've noticed a tremendous amount of follow-up with meetings that our BRE team already has and international interests of a company, but also now a team that's dedicated to proactive outreach to companies for their international strategies. St. Louis based manufacturing and service exports total more than $15 billion, and this really does lead to job creation. So it's BRE, it's business expansion by another method.
Very good. Hey, Steve Davis, do you want to make a brief comment on your role in the BRE process or benefits that you're seeing yourself?
Absolutely, Rodney. So as you can see, I've been a participant with this group since 2020, and like as Jason mentioned, we've met every week to strategize about who we want to meet with and how we're going to support local businesses as we experience new and unique challenges. What's really special about this group is that we can meet with the business, and instead of them having to make 7 phone calls, we're all in a room at one time and we can get all their questions answered. And businesses really appreciate the efficiency of that. So I just want to say thank you to all the partners who work on this, and let's keep it going.
Yeah.
All right. No, thank you, Steve.
And Rodney, sorry to interrupt. One of the directors has been raised.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, Alderwoman Spencer, please.
Do you have a question or a comment, Alderwoman Spencer? Okay, but we'll keep rolling, Rodney, and once she's
very good. All right.
we'll let her jump back in.
I promised the chair 10 minutes. All right. So with that, loans. So Daryl, you want to talk about these 3 loans? Daryl Scott. All right. Are you muted, Daryl? Daryl on.
My apologies.
Yeah. All right. Please.
Loan funded. Go Brand Go actually was a $951,000 SBA 504 loan. They are a digital marketing firm located on Minnesota. They also received a $145,000 small business loan for working capital needs. They are next one here is Arbelope Studio. They're an MBE and WBE firm located on Boyle, established 2015. They specialize in landscape architecture and urban planning. The other one is Davide Child Development Center. They currently have a location in Lafayette. They handle children's ages 6 weeks to 12 years. They've outgrown their space, so they needed additional funds to acquire new property, and that way they'll be able to expand their capacity to 145 kids.
All right, very good. Commissioner Gilbert, did you have any comments on the loans? She leads the group, the LDC.
Just to say that the staff there is really critical to us in underwriting these deals and preparing the packages, especially things that have to go to SBA. They do a really critical job in documenting and taking care of that for LDC. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Gilbert. All right, our next one, and I'm just going to cover this real quickly. You know, as a team, we're all trying to go after these federal and other opportunities, but operating in a unified way, getting back to Director Richardson's comments at the beginning. And so we find that we win more when we apply have one kind of application, but all our partners connected to the application. So you'll hear about tech hubs. I won't go into it in detail, but again, it's about reshoring some of the critical ingredients and processes and manufacturing back to the United States, making sure that we use the economic justice plan to make sure we're locating particular components of these solutions within our communities that need it most. And so you'll hear more about that. But BioSTL and the community impact partners, which includes SLDC, ourselves, and others, are all working to try to attract more financial resources to St. Louis City, as well as to the region. The Transformation Fund, I'm going to tell you, I'm just excited to be on this as it connects with the Economic Justice Plan. Thank you, Chair Richardson, Lance, Commissioner Sean Spencer on this group. I mean, it's just an exciting group of how we move our city and region forward by addressing some key assets. So I'm sure Chair Richardson will talk more about that in the ongoing days. It was great to work with the Treasurer, Adam Lane, on this EV charging. And again, this is key, and he's playing a critical role in this, working with the Treasurer, working with St. Louis City Mayor's Office, working with SLDC to put in an application to try to get these charging stations across our city and the region in some of our areas that would normally get these charging stations in just a regular market kind of approach. So this is great. So more to come on that. Just wanted to give you some highlights of what we've been doing. All right, next slide, please.
International. Yep,
Yeah.
international. We organized a high-level delegation, more than 40 economic development, civic, and business leaders celebrating Cardinals baseball in London and St. Louis's presence on the global stage. We met with UK investors and government leaders and connectors, and really just showcasing investment opportunities in St. Louis and tourism assets. But one important discussion that we organized was around the power of sports to catalyze and sustain long-term positive economic change and investment. We were grateful that Neil took the time to participate in a program called The Power of the Pitch that aired on PBS 9 back at the end of September. And also Jared Boyd joining us and joining a panel discussion with the leaders from St. Louis City SC and others, talking about how we can impact St. Louis in a positive way long-term through the power of sports. And so that segued into our annual meeting, which was at the Ritz-Carlton. It's this sold out, growing global. We had more than 740 attending this year to hear from the leaders of the Blues and the Cardinals and St. Louis City SC, and talking about the impact of sports promoting St. Louis globally. And finally, one of the other important things, are really unique projects that we're working on right now, is with Christy Jackson. Christy Jackson is the executive director of the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Harris Stowe State University. She found out that we were going to London back in June, and she's actually leading a delegation next month to London of entrepreneurs here based in St. Louis. And our team has been working with Christy and the entrepreneurs to help bring them up to speed on the opportunities in London, the connections in London, and preparing them in advance of that trip. So you can see a photo down there. They were at our office a couple of weeks ago and connecting them with many of the opportunities in London. So that's what we have from our end. I'll turn it over to Betsy.
Yes, good morning. The St. Louis Mosaic Project, I'd like to highlight 4 of these key areas. The first is the Office of New Americans, which many of the major markets around the country have and has been newly set up in the mayor's office. We help them do the job description based on information from around the country. Gilberto Pinella was just named and he will start in November for this. And I think what's important to understand is that this job is really the front door into all the services that the city offers, so that when immigrants of all different ethnicities and skill settles come to City Hall, licenses, health, all kinds of services, taxing, that will be the door in, and he'll be working with city departments to have them be better prepared to serve immigrants, as well as some outreach, but it's directly to connect those city services. And then I'm in touch with him already on a daily basis. Little Amal was a 12-foot Syrian puppet that did a 6,000-mile tour around the country. She was here on October 1st and the mayor greeted her. You can see the picture under the arch, and we had hundreds of people there and music to really talk about refugees and the role that refugees play around the world, but here as part of our population to be welcomed. The Afghan and Ukrainian job assistance, we've been part of that. We connect with the International Institute, with St. Pius, as they serve and help immigrants and refugees that come that do not have English skills. They put them in jobs, but when they have people who have work authorization and solid English skills, they connect them to the Mosaic Project to network them into jobs. Lastly, the Hispanic Heritage event at City Hall took place, and our colleague Suzanne Sierra was the MC from Mosaic, and this again is more of an attention to highlighting the growing Hispanic, pan-Hispanic community, and it was a terrific event at City Hall highlighting Hispanic Heritage Month.
Very good. All right, and community outreach, Kristen, you want to briefly do this?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that we were working with Stacy in the Northside Economic Empowerment Center, did a couple of canvases with, you can see, with some SLDC staff and with Verizon, who gave some volunteers just to go out into the area and kind of raise awareness about what's happening at the center. And we also hosted some community workshops on grants and how to apply for them and how to work with census data when you're applying for those grants. We plan to have more community workshops in the near future.
All right, very good. And we'll wrap up with this last slide. Kevin Cahill, you want to talk a little bit about where we are in Build Back Better? And then I'll ask Kristen to make a couple of comments on recompete, as well as the person who's leading it, which is Steve Davis. All right, go ahead, Kristen.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Just to refresh everyone that the Build Back Better Regional Challenge was a competitive process that the St. Louis area came together and won, and we are in the process now of standing up the Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Center. By intention was placed in North St. Louis, and just last week there was the announcement that the former Killark building is now under control of the city, and so that we can use that as a workforce development operation, creating an advanced manufacturing innovation district. And so we're quite excited about the prospects of this tech triangle, which is advanced manufacturing, geospatial, and bioscience, which is going to allow us to really stand up these verticals that will propel the region as we govern the creation of a new advanced manufacturing innovation cluster.
Yeah, I'll just add that we're just, we applaud SLDC for buying the building. We took a tour of the building as a big group led by Steve Davis a few months ago, and to confirm that it fits within Advanced Manufacturing Innovation District. That's where the district name was born out of. And so we're pretty excited about that. So Kristen, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say, call out Steve Davis for putting in the grant, doing the grant for Recompete, which is going to also be on the Kellogg building. And we were very happy to be supportive, and just wanted to make sure, because they all kind of go together. So Steve, I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Sure, no, and then thank you SLEDP for your support and providing some of the data that we were trying to address through the grant around North County and North City communities. Again, the Recompete grant is really focused around getting primary age workers, those who are 25 to 55, back into the workforce. And SLDC's acquisition of the Killart building is critical to that. So we view the site as a future workforce development hub that provides holistic services to eliminate the barriers of getting people onto good career pathways. So it means having wraparound services on site like childcare, the Office of Violence Prevention, bringing in other workforce development partners from around the region as well to provide apprenticeship and certification programs. So really appreciate everyone in the region who came together and supported this application, and more to come in future dates. So those are my brief comments on that. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chair, thank you. And we're done.
I was gonna say, I gotta wrap us up here. We have a hard stop at 9 o'clock, but appreciate everyone's support and, you know, all of the staff also at SLDC. Any questions from the directors? Director Sean Spencer.
Just a quick question. Great presentation. It appears there's, you know, a good relationship and a lot of community development work, a lot of great loans from IDA. But, you know, as a director and thinking about St. Louis City specifically, a lot of these presentations tend to be more regional. I know that our investment in SLEDP is part regional, but it really should be focused on the city of St. Louis. So could you guys give us, maybe Rodney, give us an idea about what your role is with business attraction and retention, and maybe some examples of specific businesses you guys are working with SLDC and assigning actual, you know, personnel to helping some of these businesses land and find sites in St. Louis City or stay in St. Louis City. Obviously, we had the Business Journal article about Abstract, and obviously we really want to retain them in the city. Maybe that's an example of maybe how you participated a little bit, but I'd just like to know a little bit more, and I think the board would like to know a little bit more as well.
All right, I'm going to keep it really, really brief to be responsive to the chair's desire to complete on the hard stop. So with all business attraction, we're always on that team. And so with SLDC, looking for sites that respond to the request for information or request for potential sites. And so we're always doing site searches. We have a person that does site searches. They end up being about almost 30 to 50% city sites, as well as other county sites as well. So our objective, Commissioner Spencer, is we're looking out for the city, the county, and primarily the city and the county, since we're the economic drivers for the region collectively. And so we work together with GSL on attraction. They follow us on retention. We lead on retention. And so that's how we all kind of work together. We kind of plug and play as we need to on who's leading a particular initiative. But almost everything you see has our fingerprints on it one way or another.
Well, I would make a recommendation if you come back and report back to us, maybe having a summary of, you know, the businesses that you're working with, the projects, you know, just really seeing what the outputs are to with our investment, and being able to maybe understand a little bit closer about the return on our investment with your organization. We've got a 10-year agreement, and we just want to make sure that those funds are being spent in the appropriate way and we're getting the benefit. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Spencer, for that important question. And again, I know we have continuous conversations with the Economic Development Partnership around continuing to show and highlight that direct kind of return on investment, as well as the ancillary investments and return that happens across the region. But I am in agreement that Rodney, we can work together on ensuring that you present something that's focused specifically on a section that's specifically focused on city initiatives directly. So we'll be ready for the next quarter's meeting. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, staff of the Economic Development Partnership, for your participation on many of these efforts. So I would like to move to the next item on the director's report, which is SLDC Serves Day. So SLDC on October the 6th spent an entire day in the community, servicing projects, pitching in and helping out with 8 nonprofit organizations around the entire city. Our staffers volunteered their time in the classrooms at Cornerstone Early Child Care Center, helping with the transitional living program at Etworth, sorting donations at the Little Bit Foundation, cleaning up at Mission St. Louis, Home First Property, packing books at Ready Readers, gardening at various Seed STL locations, engaging guests about animals and conservation at the zoo, and beautifying the campus of our Northside Economic Empowerment Center. I want to give a special thanks to Caressa Davis, who is our Director of Community Partnerships, as well as Steve Davis, for coordinating this effort, getting support from these organizations. We've gotten great feedback from our staff about being closer connected to the work that we do. All 80 of our staff members were out in community connecting with these organizations. I thought that was critically important, as many times we sit, in the office completing grant agreements or helping them get access to other resources from the city. But it's nothing like having that personal touch, being out in community, working hand in hand with those organizations, understanding their mission and purpose. I know I had the chance to go out to a couple of the sites and hang out with some of the kids in the daycare facilities, catch a couple balls with them, go out to see St. Louis, cut a couple of limbs on trees. So it was a good day overall, and I think the staff really appreciated. In addition to it being about us servicing the community, I think it's also a morale boost for our staff to understand the impact that they make every day. It's more than just the administrative tasks, but they're actually impacting the lives of people. So again, appreciate everyone's time to complete that program and participate. We also have our Positively St. Louis video that we want to share with the group this week, which is focused on Project Connect. So we'll quickly share that and then wrap it up with the Mayor's Business Lunch and recap. Sarah, you gonna take us away?
I sure am. Well, the St. Louis Development Corporation has 2 major initiatives underway in North St. Louis. The objective to help transform neighborhoods. It involves a 2-pronged approach to building community through future development and funding for organizations and businesses in areas that have been otherwise left behind. Fox 2's Kelly Hoskins has more on the action plan in this month's Positively St. Louis.
The NGA is one major project in the city of St. Louis, and this is just one component of the city's effort to reinvest and reinvigorate the community. SLDC's Project Connect is a strategic effort bringing together community partners and residents from the 6 area neighborhoods where the NGA is constructing their new St. Louis headquarters.
Of course, being involved
Kim Porter has been involved with the Project Connect, and she's excited to see the rebirth happening, and she feels like the residents are being heard.
When I first moved in the area over 32 years ago, the area is very distressed. As we progressed along in the years, the area has come up tremendously for us. Just new businesses come into the area. This is a culinary incubator space.
Resident Fatima Muhammad is opening up the Be Well Cafe.
This is going to be the smoothie,
a coffee shop and business hub to give residents a place to gather and offer commercial kitchen space for local entrepreneurs. I saw it vacant for about 15 years and it was just crumbling down. It was time to really stop saying what we can't do over here and start to do something. This is just the beginning. Bill Richardson, President and CEO of the St. Louis Development Corporation, explained.
When the city of St. Louis was awarded the National Geospatial Agency West headquarters, one of the responsibilities was for us to create neighborhood plans for the 6 neighborhoods that will be surrounding and touching NGA West. And so what we conducted almost 100 meetings with those residents in those neighborhoods. We understand that the voices of those neighborhoods, those businesses, are most critical to the success of those areas long term, not just for the city, but also for NGA. The program has
Lance Knuckles is the Senior Vice President of Neighborhood and Community Transformation.
We always know residents want safety. We always know residents want access to quality housing. 2 very strong pillars to support a neighborhood growing and thriving. But I think residents are also looking for ways to create education centers around how are we educating and transforming the learning opportunities for young people to attract families back into our great city of the city of St. Louis. I think residents have also raised up this notion about a stronger and deeper relationship with not only SLDC, but all city departments as we think about economic development and the implications of how our decisions might impact their lives.
Lance is also focused on the second component of the neighborhood transformation pillar, the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program. The SLDC is allocating $37 million of federal coronavirus, state, and local fiscal recovery funds to assist small businesses that have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19.
The program is targeted for businesses located on or north of Delmar, located in HUD qualified census tracts, or within the economic justice index areas 1 and 2. And so that allows businesses to really understand that this program does provide support to the entire North St. Louis community.
The Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program is accepting applications until October 30th. To learn more about the grant program, visit developstlouis.org/NSTL Small Biz Grant. And this is what positively St. Louis looks like. Kelly Hoskins, Fox 2 News.
Awesome. Thank you for everyone's participation. And again, this is about us telling the positive news that's happening in St. Louis. One of the areas of support and work that SLDC is responsible for is the narrative. So that's why we've made this investment to ensure that we are highlighting those positive stories because we know there's a lot of great things happening in St. Louis. Even though some of the headlines that we see may be challenging and may tell a different story, it's important that we highlight these positive stories. So when people look up St. Louis, when they're looking for stories, they're looking for a place to raise their family, they see these positive things that are happening in St. Louis to really move the entire city forward. So really appreciative again of Sarah, Candid, and your support on helping us develop this great campaign. The last item I want to hit today is the Mayor's Business Luncheon. We had over 1,000 people once again at the Mayor's Business Luncheon. It was a tremendous event. United We Thrive was the message and the theme of the event. We honored over 20 businesses and organizations that are moving St. Louis forward from an economic development standpoint. It was a lot that we announced during that time about the Killark site as the workforce development hub, as well as some of the other efforts we have coming up with the different products that we're going to be offering to the business community. So again, very excited and very appreciative of everyone's support. I want to give a special thanks to Ms. Donna Campbell. This was her 21st year putting this event together. And she did a tremendous job. And as you can see, all of those smiling faces got up really early at SLDC to make sure that the experience was seamless and great for all of the participants and attendees. So thank you again for everybody in their participation. Rob, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, just real quickly, I wanted to make everyone aware that we are having an open house on the Cass Avenue multimodal improvement project next Thursday, October 26th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Polish Heritage Center, 1413 North 20th. Cass Avenue is the final infrastructure commitment that we have made to the NGA to retain the jobs and the institution in the city of St. Louis. Cass Avenue improvements will be from Tucker Boulevard to Grand Boulevard, where it will connect with the Great River Greenway brick line. So this is a very exciting project. It runs along the south side of the NGA, touches a number of important development areas in the city. And so we look forward to you all attending. Again, it's next Thursday from 4 to 6 at the Polish Heritage Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. We are 1 minute over, so we're going to go ahead and move to the next item, which is the announcement of our next regular scheduled board meeting, which is Thursday, November 16, 2023 at 8 a.m. That will be held via Zoom. And again, really appreciate everyone's support on these efforts. With that, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Gilbert.
We have a motion to adjourn and seconded by me. And thank you everyone for your time. Meeting is officially adjourned. Have a great rest of your day and a tremendous weekend. Appreciate it. Thank you.